Friday morning, November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy and First Lady Jackie Kennedy arrived in Dallas, Texas for a routine campaign stop. A few hours later, JFK would be dead from an assassin's bullet, and lives the nation over would be changed for good. Larry O'Neill recalls where he was.
I was in my driver's ed class at Baxter Springs High School, and I remember one of the teachers coming through the schools with a transistor radio in his hand. It was one of those big ones, and was just very distraught, and interrupted our class while it was going on to tell us that the president had been shot. And the word at the time, they were thinking also that the Vice President Johnson had also been shot. Come to find out, it was not Vice President Johnson, but rather it was the governor of Texas, who was also shot in the melee. It was a very memorable day, needless to say, and for the rest of the day we went to each class, and transistor radios came in throughout the building, and people were listening to it all day long until we got home that evening and could see on TV for ourselves what had happened.
The motorcade down Dealey Plaza proceeded normally on a crisp fall day, when in a book depository nearby, Lee Harvey Oswald, a disaffected former Marine, was waiting. Chris Zimmerman was just 9 years old at the time.
Catholic school in Salina, Kansas. I just remember the nuns coming into the room and announcing that JFK had been shot, and we all went over to the church to pray, and then they made the announcement that he had passed away, and the biggest thing I remember is the nuns crying, and it was really sad, and I was about 9 at the time, but I just remember us praying a lot for him, and then them making the announcement that he had passed away.
Just minutes later, 3 shots from a Carcano rifle would ring out, leaving Kennedy dead and Texas Governor John Connally wounded, and a nation in mourning. Barbara Bilkey was in first grade at the time.
And it was my sister's birthday, and they said the president had been shot. And news, we didn't have a TV then, it was just on the radio, and news then was kind of a while before it got to us, but when it did, it was devastating. You know, the president had been killed, and that was just not thinkable back then, so it was pretty devastating. And I just remember my parents, you know, continually talking about it and how upset they were and everything.
Lyndon Baines Johnson would quickly be sworn in as Kennedy's successor, but as Martha Flanagan recalls, the horror was not yet over for the nation.
It was before lunchtime. We were in Mrs. Sullivan's 8th grade history class, so we were covering American politics and things like that, and it was pretty emotional. You know, the teachers were crying, kids were crying, and then we got a day off of school, and then we saw Lee Harvey Oswald shot on TV, live. Which, that as an 8th grader pretty well impresses you that people do terrible things.
Nightclub owner Jack Ruby shot Oswald to death while he was being transferred to the Dallas County Jail from Dallas Police Headquarters. Ruby was then shot to death by police, forever ending any chance of a final resolution to the question: was Oswald